Operation Microchip. I would like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachah Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, I would like to start off, Operation Microchip. And this is a title that came to me, as I was preparing for this lesson. This is based off of an article that the elder Yashawamba sent me, and I wanted to go into it, and use it as the platform, for this lesson. And it's no surprise that amidst seeing what's going on around the world today, that everyone is pushing, for this microchip. Everyone is every head of state or politician or congressman, president, prime minister, you name it, around the world is pushing for this microchip. But then you'll have Israelites out there that'll say that the mark of the beast is not the microchip, when everything is day by day is pushing more and more towards that. And you've even had those that are part of the elite banking family, so-called elite banking family, pushing for the microchip, for all people to be microchipped. As time goes on, the technology gets more and more, like the scriptures say. Let's read that real quick. In Daniel, the 12th chapter, in the 4th verse, it says, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." And we're seeing the knowledge being increased, and as each day goes by, it increases even more and more, at an exponential rate, to where now they're gearing everything, towards the vaccines, towards making people's bodies more susceptible to these contraptions, so that they can ultimately link everyone to the internet, the internet of things, And this is the main goal, because they want to be like the Most High. And in order for them to be like the Most High, they have to be able to fly up high in the air. They have to be able to control everyone on the planet, their life, where they are, where they're going, where they're at all times, what are they doing every day of every hour, every minute, every second. And this is why they're trying to be like the Most High. This is why they're putting up, they have drones, they have, cameras everywhere. You're thinking that the cameras are there for the purpose of reporting the weather or the traffic situation, so which way to go to work. Nah, that has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with spying on the people, what they call Big Brother. So this comes from the Jerusalem Post, and this article says, Benjamin Netanyahu suggests microchipping kids, slammed by experts. And this is dated May 8th, 2020, the year of prophecy, which was actually about 3 days ago. And you notice everyone is speaking about the microchip now. Whether it's people that's saying that the microchip is a mark of the beast, or whether it's these leaders, these different governments and technology pushing towards the tracking of their citizens. Right? It says, this is what the expert that slammed them said. And this expert that slammed them, which is another Amalekite, this is nothing more than what you call controlled opposition. Now, controlled opposition is a protest movement that is actually being led by government agents. Here it is, you're thinking that this individual that's fighting against what this other individual is doing is fighting against them because they're in opposition. because this other person, said that what you're doing is wrong. This is how it should be done. But all along, the person that's paying this individual and the person that's paying the other individual are on the same team. So that's what you call a controlled opposition, which is a protest movement that is actually being led by government agents. Nearly all governments in history have employed this technique to trick and subdue their adversaries. So when you see people on the news, especially this media that's owned by the international bankers, and you see people fighting on there against each other, that's nothing but controlled opposition, because they control both sides of the spectrum. It says, notably Vladimir Lenin, who said, the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. So what you see when you see these so-called fights among these heads of states, or whatever the case is, congressmen, they're both playing for the same team. And we're going to read about that, Lord's will, in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter. So let's read some of this. It says, if the information with the kids' location is uploaded to the internet, a pedophile with some cyber knowledge may invade the system and stalk them, cyber expert Elnat Miran said. And they're doing that anyway. The fucking pedophiles are on these motherfuckers are pedophiles. What do you think the whole situation with Hillary Clinton and all that was all about? It's about them trafficking children to the White House and different individuals, to have sex with each, with children. But notice that no repercussions came from that, because that's Esau, and they're up in this club. Like George Carlin said, it's a big club, and you and I are not a part of it. And in order for you to be a part of it, as a lesson we were going into, I'm not sure if it was the lesson yesterday, you have the movie Eyes Wide Shut, where they show you that scene where everyone was in a circle. And when you watch that scene, what was going on in that scene? You had orgies going on. You had different lewd shit going on. You had incantations going on. All different types of stuff of that nature. Because this is what they're pushing. This is a part of their religion. You got to remember, Elder Apostle Gabar, he always goes into, the satanic days of Esau. And what do you think they have on them satanic days? They have orgies. Some orgy is man on woman. Some orgies are men on men. Some orgies are women on women. Some orgies are man on beast, women on beast. Because this is all a part of their religion. This is all a part of their power structure that keeps them going with their society and their system. That's what makes their boat float, so to speak. When they please their Lord and Master, the spiritual demon Satan and the demons, then they get benefits. They get blessings. Same thing us on the right-hand side. When we please the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, we do the things that are pleasing to him, he gives us spiritual benefits. So let's read on. It says, cyber experts slam Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for his proposal to microchip children who return to schools and kindergartens as the coronavirus lockdown is lifted, Ynet reported on Friday. So now here we go. The COVID-19, this is the culprit. This is what was used for this whole situation. And the reason why they push this whole COVID-19 bullshit is really because they have an agenda. Operation Microchip. And notice that all the talk now has been about microchipping people. The technology of the microchip, the evolving of the technology of the microchip. The microchip and the vaccine that can marry the microchip with the human body, the luciferase. There's no coincidence that they call that luminous substance that's in fireflies and in jellyfish luciferase, which was coined by a certain doctor individual. I forgot the guy's name, but it's all pushed towards that because they are the light bearers. And I was just watching a video that the Elder Malcolm had sent me, and the guy in there, he showed a scene in Star Wars. I don't know which one it was, where I forget what that guy's name, the one that's dressed all in black, not Darth Vader, but the other dude. And he said, push. I don't remember the exact words he used, but he says, push forward Project 66 or something like that, which the individual went into that 6666, you know, the HR bill 6666, where it would allow the government pretty much to roll up in citizens' houses and separate the families, test them for the COVID, separate the families. So as each day goes by, we're seeing more and more through the year of prophecy, as coined by Elder Apostle Tar, that this agenda of the microchip is being pushed hard. And once that they achieve that agenda, that's when things will start moving a lot faster. They're already moving fast. But once he actually implements this, it's going to go lightning speed. It's going to be what they call blitzkrieg, which is lightning warfare. It's going to go fast. And this is where we understand the books of 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 16, how they shall be like madmen sparing none, still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Because at the end of the day, they want no resistance. They want the destruction of the people of the Lord, and they want the destruction of the scriptures, you know, and the way that they're doing it. And this is why the Lord said, matter of fact, before I read this, let's go to Psalms 50 and verse 16. But unto the wicked the Most High saith. Who are the wicked? The wicked are the Edomites. But unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? So why, Esau, why are you even putting the Bible up? Why do you take the Bible and you make the presidents, which is supposed to be the top men of the government, which they're not, they're just puppets. But why do you take the Bible in the presence of the whole world and make the president swear in on these Bibles? But when you turn around and judge matters in this society or do things in this society, they go contrary, totally contrary to what the scriptures say. Why do you do that? So the Lord is asking you a question. What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Does not it say in these covenants, in this Bible, in this book that you make these presidents swear on, that you're not supposed to do these things that you're about to do? That you're not supposed to put anything inside of anybody? You know, Leviticus 19 and 28. You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord. You're not supposed to print anything, meaning tattoo wise, and you're not supposed to cut anything into your flesh. You can't do it for the dead. You can't do it, period, because you know what that does? When you cut into the flesh, what that is doing is that is giving the impression that you belong to somebody. That is giving the people that are looking at your scars and looking at those marks upon you, it's giving them the thought or the idea, or the idea that you are a slave and that you belong to somebody. Just like in the law, if your brother's cattle was to go astray and you didn't like that particular individual, but you saw his cattle and you didn't do anything about it, the Lord would deal with you. And how would you know that that cattle belonged to the neighbor that you didn't like? Because they were branded according to the master of that beast. And this is why they call the population of the world, the people of the world, Goyim. Which the word Goyim, when you really go back to the Hebrew of it, Gawayim, it really means nation. But they use it to mean cattle. And that's why they call the people cattle, because the cattle is nothing more than a beast. It's nothing more than property. And the entire planet to them are nothing more than property. See, they're trying to do what the Lord gave to us, but they're doing it on the left-hand side. So this is the book of, let's go back here and we'll come here. We'll go back to this. Print. Now the word print is nathan, which is to give, put, set, to give, bestow, grant, permit, ascribe, employ, devote, consecrate, dedicate. So pretty much when you print any mark upon you, you're dedicating yourself to these different deities, to Esau. Let's go real quick to the book of Galatians. Oh, and by the way, I have here, what I did was I took, we did we was at the Ponderosa and we did a documentary on the mark of the beast, and Elder Apostle Tar did it in 6 parts. So what I did, I took all 6 parts and I rendered them together and did one full, one full documentary, which is 1 hour and 60 minutes and 22 seconds, as you see here. What is the mark of the beast? All right, and this is on my page. I put this in the description box. This is on GMS Info Doc Channel 12. So if anyone interested to know and understand the breakdown of the mark of the beast, it's right here. So nobody has an excuse, So now let's go back. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 17. From henceforth let no man trouble me, for I bear in my body the marks of the Lord Yahushua. Now, did not these marks actually exist? Yes. This is why the disciple, before he became an apostle, Thomas, he said, I'm not going to believe it unless I put my finger in his prints and in his side, because those were actual marks that Yahushua had. He had them in his hands, he had them in his feet, and he had one in his side from where he was pierced by that spear. So these are actual marks that the Lord actually had in his body, right? Now, when we look up this particular word mark, this is why it's important to go into the Greek or into the Hebrew, which a lot of these individuals in these different camps do not like to do. They're doing it more now because they're forced to, but they don't like to do that because they want everything English, English, English. But you have to understand that the English that we're reading has a language that it was translated from. And we understand, according to the prologue of Ecclesiasticus, that things that are written in Hebrew and translated into another language do not have that same force when they're spoken in their own language. So why not go back to the original language where it was written in and translated from to get a better and a proper meaning? And they scoffed at us for going into the Greek, the Paleo Hebrew. They can't do it. They can't break anything down in the English. They got to go to the Greek, the Koine Greek, and the Paleo Hebrew. But now, as each day goes by, this is smacking them dead in the face. And their voice is very small now. Hey, what is it? May? Next month is what? It's June. Ain't no microchip. So what do you got to say now about that? It's June. So now when we look up this word marks here, you have the word stigma. And this is why it's important to go into these words, because this word stigma is a very deep word. And when we read Revelation 13 and 18, right, it says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is a number of a man. It's the number of Esau. And this is why everything that they do is pushed on the vibration of the 666. This guy, George Laurer, which created the UPC code, the Universal Product Code, there is a labeling on that. And when you go to the grocery store and either you go through the cashiers or you do the self-checkout, what do you have to do? You have to scan the barcode. And those barcodes have lines that go through them. Let's see. UPC. Let's go to images. Right here. You have these. Let's see if I can make this bigger. It's not big enough, but let me see if I find another one. Let's see how much bigger this one is. All right, this one's pretty big. All right. So now, as you see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So you have what? You have lines. Some are fat, some are skinny. Some have more than one line and this is to indicate what number belongs to all these different lines. There's a name for them, but I can't It says center bar left. So this is the bar, and there are these lines represent different numbers. Now, when you look through here, you see 1 through 5. You see the different lines for them, and then here you have what 6, and what do you have here? 2 lines, 2 slim lines. Have 7, 8. Then you have another 6 here, which is what? Another 2 slim lines. Now, within the pattern of this UPC code, on each side, on the left and the right, you have 2 lines, and in the middle you have 2 lines. And they are the same exact lines, except that they're a little longer as the 6s we see here. So what's that? 6, 6, 6, because this is the pattern and the number that they would use eventually for their microchip, for their tracking of people, because their vibration is of that 666. And that's what we read in Revelation 13, where it says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And this man is who? Esau, who is the devil and Satan, that old serpent, which we read of in the book of Revelation, all throughout the book of Revelation. And his number is what? 666. 666. But just looking at that, you wouldn't really understand unless you went back to the Koine Greek to see what it says for 666, which you have a series of letters, of Greek letters. Chi, Psi, Stigma. Chi, Psi, Stigma. 666, because the Hebrew lettering, which is 22 letters in the Hebrew, each one of those letters has a numerical value. A is 1, Ba is 2, Ga is 3, so on and so forth. Then it goes up from that. When you get to 9, it goes up to 10, then it goes up to 20, and it goes all the way up to 400. That's why when we go into the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter and the 5th verse, where it speaks about Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth, when you break that down in the Greek, actually in the Hebrew, it adds up to 666. So the whole vibration of Esau in the scriptures is based off of that 666. You see? And this is why it says, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. It is a number of a man. So Chi, Psi, Stigma. So the last letter here is a stigma, which represents the number 6. Now, it doesn't really break down here what it means. It just says, 666, the meaning of which is the basis of much vain speculation. And that's what they say. But it's not vain speculation, because the Lord already said it was a number of a man. It was a number of the beast. And we understand, and this is why it's important to understand and know who the beast is. See? So now let's go back. So we have that stigma there. So now when we read in the book of Galatians, the 6th chapter, the 17th verse, we come across the word marks, and you have the word stigma. Matter of fact, stigma. And when we read down here, actually here it says from a primary stizo, to stick, an example, prick. So how do you stick a prick? You got to insert something. Now, when you get a tattoo, what is that? It pricks into your skin and it pushes the ink. That's why it's permanent. But a tattoo is not sufficient. There is something that's going to be pricked inside of you as a thing of devotion, as a thing of reverence, that you are a slave, Neo, and you belong to the Matrix, which is the international bankers, right? I have to throw a little jokey joke in there. But it says, a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander, branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to. So when you take this mark of the beast, which is the microchip, what you're saying is that you are a slave to the international bankers. They own you, and you have bowed down to them. It says, and there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. So pretty much you'll be giving homage to Esau as your god, you know, and the New World Order as your religion. All right, so now when we look down here and stick mestizo, to stick, an example, prick, a mark, incised. What does the word incise mean? Incision. What is an incision? A cutting in. Now you could use a scalpel to cut in. You know, when they do operations, they're using a scalpel to cut in. Well, guess what? The same material that the scalpel is made out of is the same material that these needles are made out of. And they're very sharp to cut and prick into the flesh. All right, so it says incise. Mark or decorate an object or surface with a cut or a series of cuts. Cut a mark or decoration into a surface. Cut skin or flesh with a surgical instrument. Let you ponder on that for a hot minute. Cut skin or flesh with a surgical instrument. And these microchips are what? Subdermal. Sub is under, dermal is skin, under the skin. And there's legislation on that. You know? And even Justice Rob, this guy, what the hell is his name? Forget his name right now. But he told Justice Roberts that he was going to have to judge or rule on, is there a microchip that's going to have to be put into people. He said before your tenure is up, you're going to have to judge on this. You're going to have to rule on this. And now we're seeing it happen. We're seeing the legislation being passed. We're seeing how they're wanting to go from house to house testing people. And once they make it law, it's going to be punishable by either jail time, fines, and possibly even death. And eventually it's going to get to that because Esau is going to get physical to put his New World Order out there. But what he has to do, he has to first make it law. That's why it says in the book of, where are we? I thought I had pulled it up. I had pulled it up, but I think I may have. Nope. Let me see if I have it somewhere else. Salaki, let me just see if I can find this. Nope. Alright, let me just pull up another. I thought I had it, but I guess not. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And these are grievous things that they're writing. Because if you are resolved within yourself that that we don't want to partake in that, because we, believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and his laws, they're gonna try to make us do it. And this is what makes these devils the dragon. Part of what makes them the dragon. And this draconian law. That they're making it to where you're gonna have to comply. And this is where, the choice between life or death is gonna come into play. Now the elect are gonna be straight. Some of the brothers, will suffer this. We don't know who it is. Myself, I don't know who it is, but that'll be to their glory, and that'll be the way that they glorify Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and they will be one of the first ones, as well as the men that are already in the grave that died in the Lord, to be raised up to go into the chariots first. But the rest of the elect are going to be straight. Brothers may get caught up in a concentration camp, or so. But eventually the Lord is going to cause something to happen to break brothers out. It says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people. Yeah, because the right is that they should be able to live and worship their power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, without any hindrance from you devils. But you don't want that. You want everybody to be subservient to you. You want to be the Most High. And this is why you're merging man with machine. You're merging the human, so-called human people, or the people on the planet, with the technology of the internet, because you have an agenda, Operation Microchip, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. And this is what they're doing. They're not trying to do this. This is what they are doing. All right. So now, let's see. We read about the marks in the Lord's body. Now let's go to Exodus 21 and 6. Matter of fact, let me try this one. Deuteronomy 15. All right, let me read the 12th verse. And if thy brother in Hebrew, man or a Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. You know, that was an indentured servant. And when thou sendest him out free, sendeth him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Yeah, because you were supposed to give him enough substance, or her enough substance, to where they could start their own thing. You see? Because they served you 7 years, and after that you were straight. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress. Of that wherewith the Lord thy power hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. Because remember, he helped cultivate this. You know, he was there for you 6 years, helping you cultivate your land, plucking your corn, plucking whatever, grazing the cattle, you know, raising them and all of that. It says, and thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy power redeemed thee. See, and this is the law of redemption. There's a law of redemption in the scriptures. And this is why when we read the curses, when the curses came upon us, the Lord said that that no man shall buy thee, no man shall save thee. Oh boy. You always got some nut. Hey, the water, elder. Not the Zakba, brother, for keeping an eye on that comment board, bro. You know. Therefore I command thee this thing today. And it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee, and thine house, because he is well with thee. See, and this is what you're doing when you pretty much, you'll be bound to Satan. You know, you'll be bound to Satan. Just like Satan tried to get Yahushua to bow to him, that he would give him everything. Well, this is what Esau's trying to do on the left-hand side. The physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. You know, to bow down to him for everything. It says, then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door. Why? Because that was the marking, which we're going to get back to that. Then thou shalt take an awl. And what is an awl? An awl looks like an ice pick, which is the same thing as the way that the syringe that puts the microchip in people looks. It's similar. Heavy, man. And he shall be thy servant for what? Forever. And this is what Esau wants. They want perpetual slaves. So how did they cause all this to happen? Through debt. That's why it says the servant is borrower, or the borrower is servant to the lender. And they understand the dynamic of debt slavery. And that's why when we go back to Egypt with Joseph, when the Egyptians had nothing else to give money wise to be fed, what did they do? They sold their lands and themselves to be servants, perpetual servants to the Pharaoh. And from that point on, the people always had to give 5% of everything to the Pharaoh, because they sold themselves into bondage. And that would fall on them and on their children, because their lands and them and everything that they had belonged to the Pharaoh. It said, he shall be thy servant forever, and also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise. So that's why it says in Revelation 13, which you're going to jump around a little bit, It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, because they want everybody chipped. They don't want anybody to be self-sufficient. They want everyone on the grid. And that's why when you see these movies like Demolition Man, and others, I can't think of the others off top, and even The Matrix, the people that were not, complying, they were underground. They were underground. And look at Demolition Man. Them people were living underground. They were selling rat burgers. You know what I'm saying? And then fucking Sylvester Stallone this is a rat burger. It's a pretty good rat burger. It's pretty good. He was tearing that shit up. So they showing you that if you don't comply. So now notice that on the other side of the coin, the people that complied, they were what? They were well to do, they were living good. They were eating, they were fat. They were living it up. They had the perks. The movie They Live at the end, remember the guy, he sold out. He was a bum. He was in that trailer, not trailer park, but that spot where they had tents. They were pretty much being fed by the church. But then he sold out, and what happened? He had a nice suit on. He was sipping the finest champagne. He was living it up. So that's the two sides of it. You either bow down to the New World Order and receive the perks, or you deny it and receive bad. But in the long run, the reward is what? Salvation in the kingdom of heaven, and not having to go through this destruction. Because the scriptures say that blessed is he that is partaker in the first resurrection. We want to make it in the first resurrection, Lord's will. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's go back to Leviticus 19 and 20. Ye shall not make any cuttings into your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord. So the word print was to give, Nathan, which is consecrated, dedicated. Remember, you had devote. Remember, you had animals. And there were some that you would have to sacrifice. But the ones that you would consecrate or dedicate were ones that didn't have any blemish. That was a consecration that you would give, to the Father, whether it was for a sin offering, peace offering, whatever. So this is what they want. This is those printings is you consecrating yourself to them as a perpetual slave. And then the word marks, which when we go into the word marks or mark, is kwai. And this kwai is synonymous with the word charagma. It's the same exact thing. One is in the Hebrew and one is in the Greek. And they mean the same exact thing. Incision, and we just read about the incision. I don't know if I still have it. Incision, incise. Cut skin or flesh with a surgical instrument. In the case of this, is the surgical instrument is talking about the carax, which is the pail or the syringe used to put the microchip inside of people. All right, so it says incision, imprintment, tattoo, mark. And we read through here, gash. Right here, what? Stigma. Stigma. To cut into, incision. Stigma. We read about stigma in Galatians, the 6th chapter. How people would devote themselves to their gods. Because Esau is the god on the planet. And he wants everybody chipped. And this is why, since the earth is given into his hands, he's taken and misused his power. This is why the Most High said, unto the wicked, which we got to get back to that. Matter of fact, let me put this here so we could go back to this and then go, move along. Micah 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is what? It is in the power of their hand. And it's not just talking about raw power, which it is raw power, but it's talking about the power of a God, being in a godlike state, having the authority over life and death, having the authority over what goes, into legislation and what doesn't go into legislation. Having the power to end suffering, end famine, end all of this madness that's going on the earth, but you still don't do it. You're using the power, that godlike power that you have, for wickedness. And the word there is Allah or Allah. It says God, godlike one, mighty one. You see? So they have that power, that strength, but they use it for wrong. That's why it said, I will be like the Most High. And that's why the Most High said he's going to destroy you. So moving back to Psalms 50 and 16, but unto the wicked the Most High says, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee? And you could type in right now on Google Images, presidents swearing in on the Bible. You're going to see a whole bunch of presidents putting their hand on the Bible and swearing to uphold the Constitution of the United States. But wait a minute, what about why are you making them swear on the Bible? Why not have the Constitution of the United States there for them to swear on? Since they're swearing to uphold that, why you have them swearing in on the Bible? Hypocrisy, man. All right, so that's kwai, which is an incision to cut into, stigma. Okay, we dealt with all of that. We dealt with that. So let's go to Revelation 13 and we'll finish up here. Matter of fact, let's bring this up. We're just going to read this again right here. Benjamin Netanyahu suggests microchip in kids, slammed by experts. So everyone is pushing for this microchip technology, because this is one of the ultimate goals of the international bankers. And one sure way that they want to decimate the population of the earth is through those vaccines. You heard Bill Gates of hell, as Apostle R coined it, say that one of the ways they could bring that to zero is if they do a really good job in vaccinations. So this whole situation right now, with them pushing for mandatory testing and mandatory vaccinations, this could very well be the thing that they use to destroy a whole bunch of people. And now that they're starting to open stuff back up, they're going to say, more than likely they may say that, well, we got to shut it all down again because this backfired, because people didn't get vaccinated, because people didn't get tested. Now we see the numbers going through the roof now. See? So there's many angles that they could use. So Revelation 13 and 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. And he spake as a dragon. The two horns like a lamb represent the two parties. They act as if they're for the people, and they act like they're against each other, but it's really controlled opposition. And at the end of the day, they both agree on the same things. And they're both, the Republicans and the Democrats, are in cahoots and are down for the New World Order. They're not down for the people. They're down for the New World Order. But it seems on the outside, it appears that they have that lamb-like, way about them. It says, and he spake as a dragon, because the dragon represents what? Fierceness, shrewd, and part of that speaking like a dragon is through this legislation that they're pushing out, which they're going to make mandatory, dracon. It says a dragon, a great serpent, a name for Satan, which is really a name for, well, Satan is adversary. It's not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about the physical counterpart, which is Esau on the planet Earth. Let's see something. Let's type in dragon. Let's see what it says in the dictionary. Dragon. I want definition. Definition. Come on, man. Dragon. Definition. Dragon. A mythical monster like a giant reptile in European, blah, 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 typically. They ain't really going into, ain't really saying much, but let's see. Fuck out of here. A violent, combative, or very strict person. See? A violent, combative, or very strict person. And this is what they're going to use. They're going to use these politicians that put people to sleep, but then they're going to really put the claws in them. You know? And then it says capitalized Draco. Draco, a northern circumpolar constellation, late 7th century BC Athenian lawgiver, and he was an Athenian lawgiver. He was known for his strictness. So let's go back. Something or someone formidable or baneful, which is death, brings death. So a violent, combative, or very strict person. So they looked like a lamb, they talked like a lamb, right? Or they acted like a lamb, but they spoke like a dragon when they put forth their legislation. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, which is what? The Roman Empire, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. And how are they doing that? Because everything that the Roman Empire did, they have it here in this time. The legislation, the Roman, the Latinized names in law, you know, the games, you know, the circuses, you know, which come in the form of those arenas, you know, so on and so forth. Whose deadly wound was healed. When was it healed? It was healed during the time of the Renaissance. That's when Esau started coming back into power, and this is when the foothold of the ancient Roman Empire ways started taking place. And when America was set up and established, it was set up really as a capital. So America today would be the modern day Rome. Although Rome is still a part of the beast system, America is like the new Rome. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And we see how that happened, you know, with their missiles, how they drop these bombs. And by the way, when you go back into the history of Japan, you know, the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there were more than just those two places that were bombed. Tokyo got hit with a whole bunch of bombs, and they were bombing other regions in Japan. So it wasn't just Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but that was the last hurrah, so to speak. But there were many bombings, you know, in Japan during the time of World War II, which was what made World War II end. It says that he deceived them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Yeah, because they have this power. And they are deceiving the people through this power. You know, this is why the people are waking up now, but for a long time, the whole world thought that the Heavenly Father and His Son were so-called white men. The angels were so-called white. The Israelites were so-called white. Every great person on the planet was so-called white. The greatest achievers on the planet were so-called white people, Edomites. But we're coming to find out that that's not true. It says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. And this image to the beast represents the way that America is run, same way as the ancient Roman Empire was run. Because this is the revival of the ancient Roman Empire. The deadly wound was healed. And that beast came back to life. You know? So that's the image, not a picture of Caesar Borgia, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And we see the life that has been given. Why do you think the whole world is following after democracy? You know, because they pushed that upon them. They brought that image of the beast to life. And they pushed it upon the world. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Why? Because it's speaking now through these draconian measures. And the power of Rome was what? Iron. And what would happen if their enemies didn't comply with them? They would crush them. And this is the same spirit that America has. If you don't comply with America, America will come and crush you. And this is why they're pushing this upon the whole planet, because they have an agenda. Operation Microchip. And this is why everything that you see now, all the resources right now are being all pushed into what? Into pushing this technology. That's what's happening. They're pushing this technology to the forefront. Everything else could take a back seat. Microchip, 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 microchip. That's what the talk is about, microchips, the mark of the beast. That's why every person on, well, not every person, but these leaders are talking about the mark of the beast, or the microchip. Microchipping kids. Microchip this, microchip that. We have to tracing. What's that called? Tracing something with the HR 6666. Tracer markers or marker tracers or something like that. Because the whole talk is about the microchip, because they're pushing their agenda on the planet. They're pushing that mark of the beast, the microchip, on the planet. This is what they want. This is what the scriptures speak about. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that's what's happening. This is why the Lord said that knowledge shall increase. The Most High gave him this power to what? To fulfill prophecy. That's all. Most High didn't give him that power to do anything else but to fulfill prophecy. Same way he gave him the ability to make those missiles. To what? To fulfill prophecy, to bring forth their judgment. It says that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And you notice that now it's getting harder and harder to use cash. Some places don't want to accept cash. Some places don't want to accept $100 bills. Because everything is being digitalized. Pushed in through so-called cryptocurrencies and all this other stuff. Because they want everything on the net. Because they want all your footprints to be on the net so that they can trace you. They ain't trying to have any slaves running loose. If you want to be a slave, you want to be a good slave, you could be a good slave. If you want to be a bad slave, you cut your chip off. You can't eat. You can't do anything. You can't even go on a corner. Like, you got the new, well, it's not new now, but, Edomites and, people been hanging out on at the end of the, the off-ramp on the highways. On many different highways, and people, they set up begging. Well, guess what? If they don't have the microchip and they begging for food or they begging for money, they're not going to get anything. Unless they got a microchip where they can, transfer monies onto the microchip. This is why they want everything digitalized. And they've been talking about, this for a while. Back in the 80s, they were talking about the cashless society. I remember when the Ansar Allah community Muslims used to talk about that. Everything was pushing towards, and they were talking about back then the credit card, because that was the in thing that was just coming in to usher in this cashless society. But now credit cards are starting to be not obsolete, but pushing towards that. Because they want that in everybody, so that, and the thing is, well, if you have a problem, if you have an allergy and you passed out, they can't tell. They can read your chip. You can't lose it. If you have a wallet, you can lose your wallet with your credit cards and your license and all that. Everything, your medical cards and everything will be on that chip. They want everybody chipped. Aaron Russo, that did the interview with Alex Jones, said that Nick Rockefeller befriended him because he liked him and he was trying to put him on. But Aaron Russo wasn't having it. And that's why, he was already sick. He had cancer, but we believe that they expedited that, and actually killed him because he was talking too much. But we don't have any proof of that. That's just a belief that we have, which makes sense because these devils do that. And then their techniques are people that are a threat to the New World Order, that are what they do is they'll either have them, they'll kill them but they'll make it seem like either suicide or an accident. And if you look at all the people that exposed them that got killed, it was always either a heart attack, some natural cause, or they crash in the plane, you know. So it says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 That's 666. And everywhere you turn around, this number is there. You know, on what I was telling you about earlier, the elder, no, it wasn't Elder Malcolm that sent me that, Salakia. It was a brother that posted it on the, a brother posted it on the comment board. It was a link to the last video I believe I did, and you click on it, it takes you there. It was this Edomite that showed a clip of Star Wars where the guy said, Palantine, whatever the hell his name was, he said, implement Project 66 or something like that. You know, so it's all coming together. And then that patent, which is 060606, they're trying to say now that that's not 666, which Elder Pastor explained it. Yeah, it's true, but it still has that numbering in there. Because Esau thinks he's slick, but it's still 666. Because those zeros don't mean anything. It ain't like they had 161626, you know? It's 060606. And anything you multiply times 0, you know? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But we see the infrastructure already set up. The technology is there. The mark of the beast is here. You know, they're pushing it fast, hot and heavy, because this is their agenda. And this is why there's such a big push on the microchip right now, which is the mark of the beast. This is why everybody's talking about it. This is why it's being pushed out in the forefront. Because this is their last hurrah to get their agenda off the ground. And like the scriptures say, when they're about to fill their belly, then the Most High shall. Matter of fact, let me end it up with that. Job chapter 20 and verse 23. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. Yeah. So in other words, they're going to flee where? To their bomb shelters, wherever they be at. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. That's talking about the missiles coming out of the silos. Yea, the glittering sword, which is the missiles, cometh out of his gall, which is the silos. Terrors are upon him, because this is going to cause great terror upon the planet, man. It says, all darkness shall be hidden in secret places, meaning that this new world order, these secrets that they have, are going to be hid in those bunkers, because they're not going to be able to realize it. They're going to get so far, and when they think they got it, boom, the Most High is going to throw that monkey wrench in there. So these secrets, which is the darkness that they put together, is going to fail, and it's going to die right there in their bunkers. And then from there, the next step is what? Hardcore slavery. Job 5 and 12. It says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And the brother Kasap from the DC camp had put a comment that I copied. He put it on the comment board, the live comment board, and I copied it real quick because I thought it was very interesting. He said, Bill Gates and the elites been trying to implant nanotechnology via vaccines, merging human with machine on the molecular level. The word device means craft, and the word technology means craft. So that is their craft. That's what the Lord said. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, because they put this into effect by this technology. They are the crafty that created these things. These are the devices that they created to merge man with machine, so that they can make perpetual slaves, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise, because this is an enterprise that they have, like you see in the back of the dollar bill. You know, Novus Ordo Seclorum, or Inuit Coeptus, announcing the birth, or our enterprise has been crowned with success. And that's why they put it on the back of the dollar bill. And you go down, which not Eustace Mullins, I can see his face right now. I can't think of his name. Jordan Maxwell, mentioned it. He said Novus Ordo Seclorum, which is the new order of the ages, or the new world order. That is what they're trying to push. It says, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime. See, this is dealing with the darkness that we're talking about, and grope in the noonday as in the night. In other words, the Lord is going to disappoint them to where they're not going to be able to perform this enterprise. That's why it says all darkness shall be hid in their secret places, because they're thinking that once they go in their bunkers and come out, they're going to be good to go. But no, they're going to their dreams and aspirations are going to die right there when they go in them bunkers. It says a fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle, dealing with these missiles. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And you see the earth rising up against this devil. The increase of his house shall depart. Why? Because he didn't get it by right. That's a whole lesson right there in itself, off of this verse right here. It says, and his goods. That's right, brother. That's right, elder. Some of you guys are posting foolishness. Just stick to the scriptures. No more warning. Yeah, man, you should be paying attention to, to the lesson. Some of you guys can't wait for the videos to go up so that you can be fucking entertained, man. You're not here for salvation. You're here for entertainment. The Lord's going to destroy a lot of you guys for that bullshit, man. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. You see brothers pouring their heart out into these lessons, and you guys aren't here for fucking entertainment. And that's why I was going to do a GMS on the move based off of the Elder Manada Zakba's video that he did, telling these guys to grow the fuck up. And it's true. Brother had me cracking up, though. But it's true, But hey, Lord's will, if the Spirit hit me, I'll do it, It says, let me read that again. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath, because the Most High, when he destroys you, all of your dreams and aspirations are going to go down the tube. And guess what? All of these riches you have stored are going to come to us. And we're going to boast in these riches. We're going to be arrogant as fuck in the kingdom against you goddamn devils, man. You think Muhammad Ali was a shit talker? That ain't gonna be shit. That's gonna be child's play compared to the shit talking we're gonna do in the kingdom against your bitch ass. It says, this is the portion of a wicked man from the Most High, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High. That's right. So Operation Microchip, that is the talk. That is what's in there. That's what they're pushing. And they're gonna accomplish it to a certain degree, because the Lord said that they would accomplish it to a certain degree. So that's what we're waiting for. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say shalom. And big ups to you brothers out there doing the work of sincerity, and deaf to you phonies and you fake phony frauds that come to this thing for entertainment. And to the elect, I say shalom. And the elite's been trying to implant nanotechnology via vaccines, merging human with machine on the molecular level. The word device means craft, and the word technology means craft. So that is their craft. That's what the Lord said. He disappointed the devices of the crafty.